Welcome, I'm Harriet Agbini. Tonight, the Nigerian Army makes contact with some soldiers and members of the Civilian Joint Task Force said to be missing following an ambush by Boko Haram in northern Borno State. Tears and pain as female preacher murdered while preaching in the Federal Capital Territory is buried. Nigerian delegates at the 2016 AIDS conference in South Africa appraised national efforts towards curtailing the virus, call for increased investment in research and treatment. And at least 80 people are killed and 230 others wounded in an attack on a protest march in the Afghan capital, Kabul. Islamic State claims responsibility for the incident. And on business news tonight, ahead of the MPC meeting, analysts call for a review of flexible foreign exchange policy.
And on sports news, champions Flying Eagles of Nigeria miss out on the 2017 Under-20 AFCON in Zambia following a 4-3 loss to Sudan in the final qualifier. We begin tonight in Borno State, where the Nigerian Army has confirmed that they are trying to find its troops missing in action after an ambush on them by Boko Haram insurgents. The theater commander of the Operation Lafia Dole, Major General Lucky Irabo, told journalists in Maiduguri that a search party deployed to the area has already established contact with 6 soldiers and 4 civilian JTF members. The commanding officer of the operation is among those still missing in action, as well as an unspecified number of the Civilian Joint Task Force.
Troops, along with some civilian joint task force, conducted clearing operations to Kogi village in the general area of Alagano. Own troops destroyed the Boko Haram terrorist camp and captured a gun truck mounted with anti-aircraft gun, as well as RPG-2, a light machine gun, and 3 AK-47 rifles, along with other logistic items of the Boko Haram terrorists. However, on their way returning back to their defensive location, they ran into an ambush by the Boko Haram terrorists, who came to reinforce their fleeing comrades. The troops fought gallantly, killing many of the Boko Haram terrorists. Sadly, however, 16 soldiers and 3 civilian JTF were wounded in action. Some others, including the commanding officer of the unit that went for that operation, are still missing in action. We have sent a search party, and so far 6 soldiers and 4 civilian JTF have rejoined the unit.
Meanwhile, the Adamawa state government has commenced the renovation and reconstruction of some secondary school structures in the state destroyed by Boko Haram insurgents. The deputy governor, Martins Babale, accompanied by other government officials, went round to inspect work and the renovation being carried out at one of the schools.
This is Government Secondary School Gombe in Adamawa State, established in 1997 with a student population of over 1,000 before the insurgents destroyed the facility. The school now has a little less than 400 students, with most of them relocating to safer schools. The Deputy Governor of Adamawa State, Martins Babale, is on a tour round the school facilities to see firsthand what more needs to be done to rehabilitate it.
First of all, is to confirm to Nigerians that Gombe is now peaceful. All over the place is peaceful. And then we're here to inspect some of the projects we earmarked for renovations, for constructions, some block of offices, renovations, and so where the Boko Haram people settled when they came down to Gombe.
At the government secondary school Muchala, which has already been renovated, the deputy governor and his team was received by the principal of the school, who takes him around the school compound.
We still want to assure the Gombe people and the entire people of Adamawa State that this present government has education at the back of its mind and will do everything to ensure that our people are well educated, because when you educate a child, you free him from every form of violence and you make him to have a mind that is above every form of evil.
What we
we're trying to do is to put the things they have destroyed back to shape. Particularly, we are appealing to the federal government through the Presidential Initiative for the Northeast to hasten the process of rebuilding destroyed infrastructure in the Northeast.
Gombe local government area is one of the councils overrun by insurgents. With the Adamawa state government's intervention coupled with the return of peace to the area, the students may now have a reason to return to the schools and get an education.
The federal government says it recognizes its responsibility to ensure that every Nigerian is free to worship and practice his or her faith. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation made this comment during the funeral service for Deaconess Eunice Mojisola Olawale, who was murdered while evangelizing in Kubwa, a suburb of the Federal Capital Territory. Our correspondent, Larry Lasisi, has this report.
It's the funeral service for Deaconess Eunice Olawale, murdered in the early hours of the 9th of July while evangelizing. Her husband and 7 children, the federal government delegation led by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, representatives of the Christian community and sympathizers gathered to pay their last respect. The leader of the federal government delegation assures everyone that those who killed the deaconess will be brought to justice.
The president also has directed that we reassure Nigerians, not only this church, that as a government, we recognize the responsibility and the duty to ensure that every Nigerian, wherever he might be, is free to practice his faith or his faith or whatever he chooses to do or she chooses to do at any time of the day in a manner, in a free, fair and safe environment. The law agencies will leave no stone unturned to find these people and bring them to justice.
At the occasion, her husband speaks of his late wife.
You are greater than death, are higher than hell. Glory be to God, a divine warrior has gone to glory. All the beautiful gates, I will surely meet you and kiss you beautifully again. Good night. Eunice Mojisola Olawale, and God bless you.
Outside, the regional pastor of the church says security is everyone's business.
We are the government. That is why I should be my brother's keeper, and you should be your brother's keeper. We know all these people who are responsible for one evil or the other in the society, but we keep quiet.
At the burial site, prayers are offered and the casket is lowered. Born on the 23rd of July 1974 and buried on her birthday 42 years later, many people see Deaconess Olawale as a hero, a Christian who died at her post. And many people here believe that the federal government should keep its promise to ensure that citizens can worship freely anywhere in the country. Lanre Lasese, Channels Television News.
As many continue to be concerned about the security in different parts of the country, the Catholic Diocese in Port Harcourt has added its voice in calling for peace. The members made this call during a peace and prayer rally in the River State capital. The organizers of the rally, who held a peaceful march in the city, said it's time to pray against kidnapping, militancy and other crimes.
It shows the church's concern for the suffering of our people. Most of our members, our priests, our religious have suffered this from kidnap, from robbery, from raping, and cultist activities, especially in our rural areas. Some of our priests are not living in their parishes, they are not at home. And that is why the church has called this day a day of prayer for peace, calling on God to intervene in our situation.
The program is all about praying for our country. Everybody knows that right now, what can only change and make a difference in this country is God, nothing more. It seems every one of us have done the best we can, but every other thing depends on God. That is why the Bishop, Most Reverend Dr. Camillus Etikudo, has summoned this solemn assembly as our own response to the circumstances and challenges of our day-to-day life in Nigeria today.
Well, back here in Lagos, the State Command has assured residents living in the Ikorodu area of the state that security measures have been put in place for their safety. According to the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Fatai Owosheni, security officials are now on daily patrol in some areas of Ikorodu. He asked residents of these communities to volunteer information to the police to help with investigations as well as maintain law and order.
Arepo, Ibafo, Igolomo, Elekpete, all the people there, the residents, including the so-called militants, they've always lived in harmony. And one of the areas that I think we should be looking at is when we allow impunity. At a point in time, the impunity will consume all of us. If you are in that place and you feel threatened, you cannot force people to remain if they want to remain. We put in 14 patrol cars and 2 armored personnel carriers to, patrol of that stretch of Ishawo, Igbolomu, Elekpete. Almost on a daily basis, we do that. And this is to give assurance to our people living in that area that the government will continue to, play its role. We have application with which people can also report cases anonymously without anybody knowing them.
Would you like to give us the number, just so if you say everybody can have it?
0802
okay.
326 5025.
025.
Today's national and state assemblies rerun elections in Imo and Kogi states have been adjudged peaceful. The rerun polls in both states were also said to have been characterized by low voters' turnout. In Imo State, the rerun elections were conducted in Okigwe North Senatorial District, Isialambano, Oru East and Owerri West State constituencies. Channels television crew that monitor the elections at several polling centers also attributed a low turnout of voters to the heavy downpour today. Some of the voters who spoke on the process commended the Independent National Electoral Commission and security personnel for the peaceful conduct of the polls. In part 2, after the break, the Edo All Progressives Congress governorship campaign is on the move. Stay with us.